Hey, what up, you sexy bitches? It's the sexiest man on all of Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, Sugar Room, live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Well, kids, another SmackDown Live is in the books. And of course, the first question I'm going to ask you, the Internet Infantry, is the first question I ask for every review I do is, well, what do you give tonight's show? Do you give it a win, a loss, or a tie? So, over here in the chat room, let me know what you thought. Down here in the comment section, let me know what you thought. Uh, Thanks for joining us here for Wrestle AM, half wrestling show, half one show, pretty much all BS. Of course, I'm going at it solo here because let's see. Uh, Sammy, he's working harder than a Pensacola stripper. LK, he's getting some much needed shut eye. And then Dave Coco, I think he's writing more books. He's doing things here. Oh, wait a minute, we got a message here from Sammy. He says, let the infantry know that I realize I haven't been around in a long time, but I work real hard. I work in real life and have, it's been very difficult. I will start having videos again really soon. Okay. So there you go. Sammy will be hopefully back on the air with us sooner rather than later because the poor guy's working like 12-hour shifts. I think he manages like a topless bar or something. Maybe that's not factually accurate, but it sounds cooler. So, but anyway, tell me guys what you thought about SmackDown tonight. Now, me, I'm gonna give it. I think I'll be generous and I think I'll give it like a weak win. There were some things that I did like, but there were some other things that I didn't like that I felt like drug the show down. Of course, the show starts out with the big news for the big fallout from Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton made a surprise appearance on Raw by giving Brock Lesnar an RKO out of nowhere because that's the only way to give them. And so now over on SmackDown, they were, obviously Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan realized that Orton's got a receipt coming towards them, and so they hired a bunch of security to go patrol the building. Said, don't let Brock Lesnar in here. Yeah, it was kind of cool, but you put yourself in a lot of danger here. So anyway, then we go out and they bring out Dean. This led to a little confrontation at the beginning of the show between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. They kind of talked about who had it rougher here. Ziggler, and it was like you keep talking about oh, you start at the top, now you're here. I started out as a male cheerleader. I'm the one who had to scratch. I'm the one who had to claw, and I'm the one who deserves to be here. And Ambrose, would have none of it. Said, no, you worried about everything else. You worried about, how you look. You worry about what the fans think. You worry about how cool you look. You worry about shaking your ass. You worry about everything but the things you should worry. You should worry. You should worry about everything but the one thing you should. And this got some passion out of Ziggler. Now with this, it just went on for kind of long, and this got something out of Ziggler saying that he was a kid from Cleveland when he was 5. He knew that this is what he wanted to do. He walked on at Kent State, became set records for wrestling. He hoped to get his foot in the door to steal the show, and he's been for the last 7 years. He's been the guy who's been passed over, taken for granted, underrated. And he goes, what? I'm going to be the guy who would be good enough to go into Brooklyn, burn the place down, and become the champion. To which Ambrose says, no, you're not, because the only thing, there's no one holding you back. You're not as good as you think you are. And this led to they broke off the confrontation. This led to Bray Wyatt appearing out of nowhere and hitting Sister Abigail on Dolph Ziggler, and then basically challenged him to a match to put his #1 contendership on the line to prove that you're really worthy of being the #1 contender. And if not, I'll take your place at SummerSlam. I kind of like the idea, I really did. I just think it took way too long. I think when you start dragging things out like 20 minutes, especially when you really could have compacted this down to maybe 10. I really felt like there was more opportunity missed to have more matches, to advance more storylines, to get more people out there, and I just don't feel like they. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. I liked seeing the passion. I actually think Dolph Ziggler is going to be one of the few people who actually benefit from this brand split and especially the reboot over on SmackDown. I feel like he's going to be one of the guys who benefits. There'll be a few more, but he's one of the first ones that come to mind. Then next we go to a triple threat match to determine the new number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. So we have a match between Callisto, Baron Corbin, and Apollo Cruz. These guys they all lock up. They start flying around the ring. The baby faces team up against Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin makes a comeback. They trade some blows. Cruz drop kicks Corbin, leading to Callisto. He's being held up by Corbin. He gets head scissored out of the ring. This leaves him wide open. So Apollo Cruz gets a roll up on Callisto, gets the 1, 2, 3. This was an okay match. I'm never gonna end my campaign to ban. I'm gonna make, you know what? If I ever start my own wrestling league, I'm gonna make like a roll up an automatic disqualification. I'm seriously fucking sick and tired of roll up wins. I hate them. I just hate them, especially for a guy like Apollo Cruz. You know, it's one thing if it's like a desperation move, or you're trying to get like a shot, but to get actual wins out, especially with a guy his size, doing it to a guy smaller than him, that to me that doesn't say babyface. I really felt like Apollo Cruz has just been completely screwed. I feel like Apollo Cruz would have benefited for staying in NXT a little bit longer, to develop his character, to flesh it out a little bit more, because right now he's just some white meat baby face, pardon the pun, who just smiles a lot. I mean, it just reminds me of Rocky Maivia when he first started. You know, it was just, okay, he's a good guy, he smiles and he wrestles. But there's no edge to him. And I really think that he would have benefited by trying to find some kind of wrinkle, some kind of thing that makes him stick out, because right now they're trying to get him over, and God bless him, he's a great athlete. I mean, he's phenomenal talent, got a great physique. I mean, hell, I'd make him like a top baby face if I'm running a company. Yeah, Apollo Crews is definitely one of my top baby faces. I mean, I don't know what it is about him. He's just got a lot of charisma. He's got that Pepsodent smile. I mean, he's like Cam Newton, except for he's not an asshole. He's great. And so when you have a guy like that being squandered, it kind of pisses me off. And especially when he beats a smaller guy. I mean, Callisto's what, 5'7", 5'8", and here's like a 6 foot, Apollo Crews rolling a guy that's like half his body weight up. No, I don't like that. But I do like the fact that it seems like WWE's a little bit more serious about pushing talent for the future, because you go over on Raw, you've got Finn Balor in contention for a championship there, and over here on SmackDown you've got now Apollo Crews in contention for a championship. So I liked it. I kind of liked the match. I just hated the ending. It just didn't do it for me. Next, oh god, they were supposed to have a match between Becky Lynch and Ava Marie, but Ava Marie was selling like an injury, like she pulled like a hamstring or something. The referee got a trainer to go over there. The referee told the ring announcer, okay, look, Ava can't compete, so they called off the match. I thought, okay, they're going to set it up for like a week. I kept thinking, okay, they're going to jump her. She's going to jump her. This is the oldest heel trick in the book. She's going to referee, trainer, everybody's going to get on her. Becky Lynch is going to let her guard down, and then boom, Ava Marie's going to jump on top of her, and here we go, we're going to start the match. No, they didn't. She just kept selling the ring and kept limping to the back. And I was just like, is this going to be like a one-time thing? Is this going to be like a constant thing where Ava tries to find out, tries to avoid, actually having to get in the ring and wrestle? I mean, I really don't get where they're going with this. WWE, what is it about this fucking company? It's like when it comes to women's wrestling, it's like they take one step forward and then they take 2 steps back automatically. They create like the women's championship, or no, they take women's wrestling serious. It's like they finally take women's wrestling serious. Okay, step forward. Well, they make Brie Bella like the record holder for the longest reigning Divas champion. 2 steps back. Okay, you get rid of the Divas title, you create the Women's Championship. 1 step forward. Okay, now what are you going to do? We're going to make Charlotte completely a shell of her former self. She's going to be just known as Ric Flair's daughter, where she's not really going to defend the championship all that much. 2 steps back. And it's like, okay, we're calling up a bunch of ladies from NXT. We're trying to start like a new era here. 1 step forward. Okay, now we're gonna have Anne Marie, but she's really not gonna wrestle. It's gonna be some bullshit angle. Okay, 2 steps back. I mean, come on, WWE, get your fucking shit. They only did this shit with the women tonight. They had another example of this, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second. They only did that with the women, and I'm not saying it's like sexist or misogyny. I just think it's bad booking. I just think it's because the bookers or the story writers, whatever you want to call them, I don't think they actually know real women. So they don't know how to write a woman because they've never met a real woman, never had a real experience with a woman. Take that for however you will. And I just think it really shows because they just don't know how to write it. And so it just comes off silly. It just comes off as unrealistic. And I'm sorry, it just didn't work for me. Especially with the talent like Becky Lynch. I absolutely love Becky Lynch. I think she's a phenomenal wrestler. Ava Marie, not so much. But this is, but then again, I guess I would rather have them have no match than a fucking shitty match. So then they go to then they just went immediately to the SmackDown pre-game set. Renee Young was there with Carmella. Carmella was just, kind of dogging out Ava Marie, but Natalya walked up and interrupted the interview, basically asking Renee Young, why aren't you interviewing me instead of her? I've been carrying this division for a better part of a decade. My uncle was Bret Hart, yada, yada, yada. And then Carmella got out of her seat, got up in Natty's face, and says, Natty says, oh, don't worry, I'm going to teach you a lesson in humility. So they were having this foreshadowing a match for later on in the evening. Next year, we have American Alpha making their debut against the Vaughn Villains. This was, okay. I really felt like SmackDown also squandered another opportunity here with American Alpha. You got to think, yes, people watch NXT. I like NXT. You like NXT because, hell, you're watching this. If you remember the Internet Infantry, I don't think I've met anybody who hates NXT. But anyway, at least with the Internet Infantry. But the bottom line is Raw and SmackDown get bigger ratings than NXT. So you've got to think there are, theoretically, there are people in that audience who do not know who Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are. I really felt like they could have taken some extra time, like, for instance, the time that they spent with the Becky Lynch, Ava Marie debacle, instead of having that. You could put together like a little video package. I mean, yeah, I know they showed some things, but I think they really needed to say who these guys were. What have they accomplished? Why should we care? I think they should have shown them, a little quick highlight. Jason Jordan, he's a national champion with the University of Indiana. Chad Gable, he was on the United States Olympic wrestling team this past Olympics out in Beijing. Then they should show how they formed, quickly how they formed, some highlights of some of their matches, them winning the NXT championships. Just the crowd going crazy for them. You kind of set the table for them. Kind of give the people, the uninitiated, just a kind of a glimpse of who they are. And now there may be some people complaining about that they had a very short match. This wasn't even a 5-minute match against the Vaughn Villains. I kind of thought it was going to be like the Ascension or maybe a couple of no-name jamokes, but no, they pulled in the Vaughn Villains, which is fine because they've had some good matches with them in the past. So, I'm not really going to be upset. This match didn't even go 5 minutes, but I think that was fine because I think he wanted to kind of whet everybody's appetite for American Alpha. They are a phenomenal team, and it didn't need to be long. You needed to have just a sample of what they could do because you don't want to blow your entire load. You got to think of wrestling like sex. You just can't blow your, oh God, Ray Mysterio's just like white with the fucking message board now. You just don't want to blow it all like right there in the first couple of minutes. I mean, you got to have, you got to space it out. You got to build up to things. You got to, have more to show. You just can't boom, just lay it all out there and, that's it. That's all you get. No. I think it was a decent showcase, a decent beginning. And I was also surprised that Aiden English is the one who ate the pin rather than Simon Gotch. because I thought, well, apparently Simon got you some hop. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? We read the dirt sheets. Gotch lost a fight against Sin Cara. Either he got punched in the face or got an unopened soft drink thrown in his face. But either way, he went down and he lost. And apparently, Gotch has a habit of running his mouth backstage that ticks people off. So, whatever. I don't really care that issue's gone. Whatever. Then next we get to AJ Styles. He comes out and he's going to talk about one thing, John Cena. John Cena comes out and says, well, if you got something to say, then say something to me. And this is where I really know that WWE's completely out of touch with their audience. They're trying to make AJ Styles just like an absolute villain. It's just not working because AJ Styles is not a good villain. He's not. I mean, he's not the kind of guy who kicks puppies. He's not the kind of guy who rides his dirt bike through like a little old lady's rose garden. He's not the kind of guy who steals cookies from Girl Scouts. I mean, he's not the kind of guy who twirls his mustache and ties a damsel to a train track. That's just not who he is. And it just, when he tries to do that, it just comes off really stilted. It's just so unnatural for him. But, because he goes through, I did think it was kind of funny when he talked about, he couldn't stand, these weak-minded people, and he's like, and there's nobody more weak-minded than people in Nashville. Believe me, I know. Shot at TNA. But anyway, he says, well, I got a problem with the kids, and I got a problem with the parents, and these kids are delusional. And the parents keep telling them it's true. This allows Cena to do his shtick, and then Styles says, I beat you in the ring. I beat you up. Why are you still here? Then that just tosses a softball to John Cena. It's like, oh, because I love it. I love it here. I love, you know what? You're going to go have a day off. I don't know what a day off is. I'm going to go be on the Late Show. I'm going to be hosting the ESPYs. I'm going to be hosting the Teen Choice Awards. And everybody keeps asking me, oh, well, when are you going to retire? When are you going to? It's like, no, I love it. I want to be here. I love the WWE. And then Styles says, you know what, starts, kind of, condescendingly applauding. Goes, I knew you would say that. You know what? You meet SummerSlam one-on-one, which John Cena accepts. And Styles says the best part of SummerSlam that when he beats Cena, that on SmackDown Live, Cena will have to come out and admit that Styles is the better person. And if he doesn't, he's a liar. And if he does, he's a loser. So either way, he wins. I kind of like that. But actually, I want to see Cena Styles again. I did enjoy it. I kind of hated the last time they tied it up. They had the Money in the Bank when the club interfered. But whatever. Water under the bridge. Let's see it again. But it was okay. It's like the opening segment. I really felt like it just went way too long. I really felt like, like the last one. I think they could have half the time. They could have gotten the same message over because, look, I'm a media guy. I'm a news guy. I've only got so much, as someone who produces shows for a living, I've only got so much time. And so you want to say things, you want to be short and to the point, get to your point and move on, say what you got to, only use the amount of, words, grammar, punctuation necessary to get the point across. And I felt like WWE, they kind of pull like a Dave Coco, and I don't mean that like a bad way. It's just I write, stories for news, so I have to have a story that I can tell like a complete story on something anywhere from 20, no more than 30 seconds, preferably 20, but 20 to 30 seconds. Whereas Coco, who's writing a book, he could write, it's like William Faulkner who basically spent 2 pages to describe a drop of blood on a blade of grass. You can do that if you're like a novelist, but if you're like me and you're like on TV and you're live, ready to go, you got to keep the audience engaged. You got to be short, sweet, to the point. Get your fucking point across and keep going. You got to keep that audience engaged because people don't watch TV like they used to anymore. When you and me were kids, we would sit there. I mean, there was nothing else for us to do. I mean, if it was dark outside, you couldn't go out and play. So, you sit and watch TV. Yeah, the commercials kind of suck. You maybe hit the mute button, flip around. But that was it. Now, here's how people watch TV. TV's changing now. You can easily get distracted. You could easily, lose viewers that way. So I say you got to don't give your audience an excuse to pick up the fucking smartphone. Don't give your audience an excuse to get on the laptop. Don't give your audience an excuse to flip through the channels to see what else is on to kill time while that's more long boring segments on. Get to your fucking point. See, and I think it's kind of ironic that I kind of dilly down around it to say that point. So whatever. Let's pretend I can talk. Sorry, a little tongue tied right now tonight. Sorry, I've been up since like 4 this morning. Kiss my ass. Next is Randy Orton. Had a match against Fandango. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon put security all around the ring. This week we all kept wondering. We knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know. We knew that it was going to happen. We knew. We just knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. But sure enough, Lesnar comes out. It looked like Fandango was going to get like a roll-up, but no, Randy Orton hits the RKO. This allowed Brock Lesnar to go into the ring, hit an F5 on Orton. This immediately brought out Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon with a little more security. They in turn, told Lesnar, okay, boss, you got to go. And he left. To his credit, he just walked to the back, met up with Paul Heyman, got into his SUV and left. So like that, Orton refused to talk about it after he left the trainer's room. Heath Slater showed up again, then talked to Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan said, okay, you know what, I'll set up a match for you next week, and if you win, you can sign a SmackDown Live contract. I said, great, who's it going to be? And then he got speared by Rhino, and I'm like, well, I guess there you go. So I guess Rhino versus Slater for a contract on the line. Way to go. Then here we go. Then we get back to the women. Carmella goes to the ring. She starts saying a different new spiel. She gets jumped from behind by Natalya and then gets put in a sharpshooter. The referees break it up. Nanny walks to the back. They throw out there's going to be no match. So again, with the women, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, Carmella. She's going to debut. And again, I think you're wasting a lot of time and wasting a lot of valuable talent. Why? Not saying that she's not talented, because God knows she is. I want to see Carmella wrestle, but again, you got to set the table for these people. You got to let me know who Carmella is. Who is she? What's she all about? What are some of her moves? What's her motivation? How does she feel now that she's up on SmackDown? What's going to be her goal? Yes, kids, I do know that they're going to introduce a Women's Championship on SmackDown, but they're waiting to after SummerSlam. So, yeah, and they're also going to introduce new tag team championships. So I'm well aware of that, but I don't want to dwell on it too much. So again, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And they only did this with the women. For a company who wants to take women's wrestling, this whole women's movement thing seriously, they really do shit on the female talent. Just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not. Then we get to the main event, which is Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler. Again, the winner will go on to SummerSlam to face Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Title. This actually turned out to be the match of the night. This was actually really good. I did enjoy the psychology here. I think this is one of the best matches that Bray Wyatt has wrestled since he made his return from injury. Ziggler came out like a house of fire. He was just all business. Wyatt made a comeback. He did that superplex off the top rope. Ziggler sold it like a fucking champion. Wyatt did that spotter walk over for a cover, only got a 2. Let's see. Ziggler just hit with a senton. And then he was undoing. Oh, he got hit with that choke slam. That was probably the best damn choke slam I've ever seen Wyatt hit. That's another positive about Ziggler, man. Ziggler will sell anything like a fucking champion. But Bray Wyatt started undoing the top turnbuckle pad. He got caught with a zigzag for a near fall. Ziggler was going to get it hooked up in Sister Abigail, but he rolled out, squirmed out of it, got Wyatt for a 2. He avoided. He got thrown in the corner, but missed the steal. But instead, he threw Wyatt head first into the uncovered turnbuckle. Super kicked Bray Wyatt, got the pin. 1, 2, 3. So your winner and still #1 contender, Dolph Ziggler. They do the replay. There's a little bit of a stare down between Ziggler and Ambrose, but Ziggler gets jumped from behind by Eric Rowan. This brings in Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose gets flattened for his trouble. Then Dolph Ziggler gets hit with Sister Abigail's kiss. Bray Wyatt says follow the buzzards and fade to black. So I think the main event is what absolutely saved the show. But all in all, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. I would say the positive aspects of it is they did some continuity with the Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar storyline over on Raw, kind of like the interbrand matchup a little bit. And plus, what I liked about it was, it's just something I don't know if people are talking about here, but the common sense put into play here. You had Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan take precautions. They're like, okay, Lesnar's going to be mad. We need, Orton's got a receipt coming to him. So, you know what? Let's try to protect our talent. So they hired more security. So that made sense. I like the fact that they did a 3-way to determine a new #1 contender of the Intercontinental Championship. For the most part, like the 3 guys they put in there. I hated the ending. I wish the match would have gone a little bit longer, but all in all, I mean, it was okay. Not executed as well as it could have been, but still good. I don't like what they did with any of the women on this show, period. They had an opportunity to have 2 women's matches. At least one of them was going to be decent, and they shit all over that. They shit all over the women, so fuck you, WWE, for that. American Alpha made a debut. I wish they would have given a little bit better of an introduction, a little bit more, told the crowd, the uninitiated, their history, but it was still a decent debut. I think the AJ Styles John Cena confrontation was a little awkward, went on way too long, but I like the fact that it went to a match. Fandango versus Randy Orton. I think I wouldn't change anything about it. I really did. I actually kind of like that. And I'm not a huge Orton fan, but I will give credit where credit is due. I like the way WWE is building up this feud that was actually based off of nothing, that had nothing going for it, and now suddenly, I kind of want to watch this match. And the main event absolutely saved the show. Congratulations to Bray Wyatt and Dolph Ziggler. This SmackDown reboot has really done wonders for both of them, especially Ziggler right now at this point in time. So if you're on the fence, let's see. I watched a little bit of Raw. I would probably say check out this match, check out this show because, well, it's shorter and things make a little bit more sense. It's not as painful to sit through. So, yeah, I would say check out SmackDown. All right, let's get to some questions and comments. I do want to give shout-outs to Gary North and Andrew 1000, formerly known as Andy Paps. Don't want to see. So, thank you guys for joining us here. And let's see here. Gary North, he agrees. He gives it a weak win. Andrew, I'm just calling him Andy Paps because fuck it, we're cool. Me and Andy are cool, so I can call him Andy. He gives it a win as well. I think, let's see, this is from Gary North. I think Orton might win to make the show look strong. Actually, from what I've heard, I think they're going to have Lesnar win. And by the way, there's a lot of people pissed off at Lesnar right now because apparently they found a loophole because Brock Lesnar is a part-time talent and not a full-time talent. He's nearly not subject to all the drug testing, and they're not counting the all the drug testing the UFC did on him. So there's a lot of people who are not happy, and to be honest, I don't fucking blame them. Let's see. Gary North also says, looking forward to see Kenta tomorrow on NXT. Yeah, Hideo Itami making his big return to NXT tomorrow night. I'm actually looking forward to that too. I missed that guy, man. He was out 18 months, man, with a shoulder injury. God, man, he caught a bad break, but good to see him back. I hope that maybe they have him in the running to make him champion. I could actually see, I know everybody's saying that, it should be Shinsuke Nakamura, being the champion, which I wouldn't be mad at, but God, Nakamura versus Hideo Itami. Shit, take my fucking money. That would be fucking awesome. Put the NXT Championship on the line. Those would be my top 2 picks for babyface champions. My top pick for heel champion on there would be Austin Aries, because I think it's, I know everybody's like, well, what about Samoa Joe? I would move Samoa Joe up. I would move him onto SmackDown, because I really think they could need him, because I think, yeah, SmackDown kind of got hosed a little bit more on this draft, and I think they're a little bit weaker right now. They're the thinner of the 2 rosters, and I think anything they could kind of, anything they could do to kind of bulk it up just a little bit would probably help. So I would definitely pull up Samoa Joe. So if I was going to have a heel champion, I'd make Austin Aries my heel champ. And Andy's also telling people to subscribe. I agree. You guys need to subscribe. We're doing all kinds of crazy shit on here at KocoSports.com/ProWrestling.me. In fact, I'll do some shameless self-promoting right now. I want to tell everybody to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. That way you can kind of keep updates of what we're doing. We're always cranking out shows like crazy. You can always check us out, KocoSports.com, ProWrestling.me. We've got links to all our old shows. We've got updates on news and gossip going around in the wrestling world. Just a good old time here. Let's see what else we got coming up. I apologize here. Let's see. Obviously, somebody's going to have to do a Raw review, because I'm doing SmackDown now. We've got an NXT review coming up, TNA review coming up. We've got to do a Ring of Honor review. Evolve's going to have some shows coming up. We got to get those reviewed. Start all over again on Monday night. Good God! And Lucha Underground will be back in September. Man, they're going to do 40 episodes for season 3. So I'm going to try to get my sleep now, get my rest now, because we're going to marathon that son of a bitch. All right, so no more questions. So I guess that's going to do it for me. So this is Booms. For Dave, Coco, LK, and Sammy, saying the boom just went bang, and I am out.